Well, hello and welcome to my garage tests and experiments. This is a new series that I'm starting. I figured it'd be fun to go ahead and do some tests, do some experiments, see what this game all has to offer, right? Crash physics and all the like. So yeah. Here we go. We're going to get started. All right. And the first test, or I guess second, we're going to see what these are all brand new lads. We got the regular lad 4-door. We got the Coupiera, or whatever it's called, the convertible, and the coupe. So the first test I want to see is just what the value is of a perfectly built car. So 11,000 for the regular lad. 13,700 for the convertible, and 14,000 for the coupe. So who knew that the 4-door would cost the least? You'd think that would maybe have cost the more, since it seems like it probably has more parts. All right, so the first test I want to do on this lad here is we're going to see how far we could drive with just one lug nut tight. And we're going to do the same with this back one. So let's see how far we can actually get if we forget to tighten that. But let's go ahead and start driving. We're just going to head across the bridge. We're going to head toward the pizza shop. It seems like the steering's normal so far. I'm going to run it a little bit hard just to make sure that we're giving it all the opportunity to fall off. So far, so good. Let's give it some turns here. Okay, so we're doing pretty good here. I don't see any tire wobble, which is typical if you have loose lug nuts. Oftentimes your tire will start to wobble, and if you see a car driving around and its tires wobbling around like crazy, it probably forgot to tighten its lug nuts. But yeah, let's see here. So far, so good. I'm not seeing any issues. There's some more aggressive cranking of the wheel. Yep, doesn't seem to have a problem. So it doesn't look like it's the end of the world if you forget to tighten your bolts. Okay, well, it held up pretty freaking good, I will say that. And as we can see, all three were still loose. So let's go ahead and just jack this up a little bit. Let's pull this tire off. And let's see. Oh, it doesn't actually tell me the condition. Yeah, because I have a mod here that'll actually tell you the condition of the parts. So if we look at this air filter, it says it looks brand new. So I was trying to see if the rim actually got destroyed any, but it doesn't appear so. So, well, let's go ahead and loosen up these transmission bolts. We're going to leave the back side of the transmission connected, but we're going to leave that off. We're going to go ahead and just loosen up some of these intakes, some of these exhaust. Not both bolts, because I believe if we do all the bolts in a series, it will definitely fall off. We're going to grab a couple of these carburetor bolts, loosen them up, and then just for fun, we're going to come in here and we're just going to loosen up. Oh, we can't get in there. That's okay. I was going to loosen up one of the bolts for the piston as well. Well, what we can do is let's go ahead and loosen up some of these oil pan bolts, and then we could test and see if we lose any oil on the way home. So we're just under the line as of right now. I'm going to let some time go by to make sure that it's just not leaking as of right now, because it may be. Radiator's still good. Okay, nope, I think that was from just driving it. All right, let's get this tire back on, and we're just gonna just tighten one of the bolts again. Let's leave them all off for a second and see what happens. Oh, okay, it pops right off. That's what I was kind of expecting, but wasn't sure. Okay, so we're just gonna tighten one. There we go. Well, let's drive back with all those loose parts and see if anything dire happens here. We'll keep an eye on the temperatures and all that. Let's go ahead and crank it hard. What if we hit a curb with this bad tires? Nothing. Okay, we'll just keep on going. Let's go ahead and hit this turn up here with the e-brake. And see if we can loosen... Nope, seems to hold pretty well. Okay. Alright, so far nothing. Alright, let's just take a look real quick, see if anything's going on. Check our oil. Oil levels have not dropped with those loosened bolt pans and everything else that's going on here. Okay, well, his car does not have physics, so good to know. It'd be cool if we could get a dyno at some point in the game to where we could actually test our horsepowers and such. Alright, so far so good. Okay, so at this point, it doesn't seem like if you forget to tighten all your bolts that there's any problem. And see what and if we've caused any damage. So, yep. So that test confirms that even as long as you got one bolt on, your tires are not going to fall off. So, good to know. Let's take a look at our oil, see if we've lost anything. We have not. Alright, and what we're going to do is take off the parts here, the carburetor, see if there's any damage occurred. Yep, so those two bolts were still loose. We'll loosen this one, and let's see how the condition is. Alright, still looks brand new, so it doesn't seem like leaving any bolts loose will cause any real problems. So let's just get everything tightened back up since we know. Actually, I think the next test that we're going to do is we're going to see if this has any different sound if we leave the air filter off. Now, if you don't know, in a regular car, if you take your air filter system off, you're going to get a much deeper kind of sound to your engine. And let's see if it sounds any different. It does not sound any different. Alright, let's give it some throttle. Doesn't seem to have any issues, so let's go ahead and take it back off. And then what we're going to do is just start taking apart some of these parts while it's running. See if it dies, see what happens. First things first, we're going to leave the carburetor on. Obviously, we need to have that on in order for it to run. So let's go ahead and pull off the regular exhaust. Okay, as soon as we loosen that one bolt, we could already tell immediately that the sound changes. Okay, so we'll leave that on. Now what happens if we take off this whole exhaust manifold? Will the car even continue to run? Let's find out. Now let's loosen this one here and see what happens. Okay, it runs like there's no exhaust. That's what we was kind of figuring. Alright, let's go ahead. First off, I do want to see if the pistons are actually moving in this thing. Oh wow, so the system does completely move. A little about the pistons itself. Okay, it doesn't appear the pistons actually move, but I wasn't really expecting them to, so let's see if we can run this without the valve cover. It does. That should be expected because valve engines will run with the valve covers off. It is not a necessity. You're just going to basically have a chance of screwing your stuff up because of the dirt. Let's give it some gas. It's pretty cool. They do move, which is awesome. And don't forget, we did have our transmission loose. Well, let's take off the carburetor and see what happens. Now, it should die. I mean, it should definitely die. Yep, okay. Yeah, because there's no air fuel. It's not doing any air fuel mixture and all that stuff. Okay, well, that's expected. Let's see if we could start it back up with all these parts off. Yep, starts up no problemo. Now, there shouldn't really be too many other things we could take off and this thing continue to run. Obviously, we wouldn't need the fan. We could remove the fan. Only thing that should do is increase our temperatures. Okay, it looks like our temperatures are actually increasing anyhow with these parts off. See it? Let's give it some throttle. Oh, nope. Looks like it's leveling back down. It's kind of leveling back and forth at half. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Let's go ahead and take off the fan and test that out. We're going to take it off with it running. We didn't chop our fingers off. Now the temperature should rise. Let's see what happens, though. Okay, let's give it a little bit of throttle here. Looks like it might be going up. Yep, temperatures do seem to be going up some more. But not as fast as I was expecting, so that's kind of good. Now, let's test out our battery. So it shows here that our battery is running fairly low. I have a multimeter, so let's actually check that. 12.8 volts. I don't know if there's a switch on this. 12.8. Yep, okay. Next, let's go ahead and see. Well, let's check the temperatures again real quick and see how they're looking. Okay, temperatures are actually looking pretty good. Okay, let's see what else we could take off. Let's disconnect the cable on the alternator and see if the battery starts to die. I guess we could turn our lights on to help. Oh, I think they were already on. Okay. So alternator cable does not need to be tight either. Let's check our multimeter, see if the volts are going down. 12.8 does not appear to be. So we're going to loosen up this bolt and this one. Okay, it doesn't die. I mean, I guess that's to be expected because all you're doing now, it will start to overheat. Yeah, you could still run without an alternator on or a belt for that matter, but all your stuff is going to stop running. So your water pump's going to stop, your alternator obviously, and as we can see, our temperatures are going up really quick here. All right, well, so we know we can't do that. Let's see if we can actually put the belt back on without the alternator. No, of course not. Let's take a look. Yep, temperatures are going up more and more. Well, let's go ahead and just blow this engine. I don't know if there's anything else I could have done with it. that engine is holding up pretty damn well. How's the temperatures? Let's just go ahead and put the alternator on. Oh, you could hear it. Oh, there it went. It died. Okay, well, it didn't blow, but it did die. Let's see why. Probably because of the temperatures being too high. Let's check the battery real quick and see if it drained out a little bit. A little bit, not too much. Let's go ahead and put this back on. While we're looking at it, looks brand new. Okay. There we go. Let's go ahead and get the belt back on. There we go. And let's see if we can start it. Actually, before we do so, we're going to peek into the engine and see if any of these parts got worn out from that. Head gasket does look good. Can't really see in there. Let's get to the side here. So we can't really see inside the engine. It's pretty small, but the pistons do look good, so it doesn't look like we caused any major damage. Let's go ahead and start her back up. Temperatures are still pretty high. Let's check the... Oh, we did blow out the head, actually. Well, we didn't blow it, but we worn it out. Let's check the fluids as well. Okay. Okay, well, let's get these parts back on real quick. There's some other experiments that I want to do. Okay, next I want to test and see what happens if we put the wrong transmission on the car here. So let me go ahead and put a new one on here. Alright, and we are going to try the inline 6 diesel transmission and see what it does. Okay, well, first off, it won't even let me tighten the bolts from the engine to the transmission, so I don't think it's actually going to do anything. But there is only one way to test this, so let's try it. Okay, obviously it's going to start. Now, it says it's in first. We heard a click, but let's see what happens. Okay, yep, nothing. Okay, so yep, 6-cylinder transmission does not work. Okay, next I put the 4-cylinder transmission back in. Next, I want to see if we can start the car while in the lift and actually kick on the transmission and see if the tires spin. So if we change it to this view, we are in first. Let's let out the throttle, or let out the clutch. Okay, so it does actually work on here. Let's go through all the gears. Oh, it doesn't work the best, as you can see. I'm in second gear, full throttle, and it's not letting me move. Let's try reverse. It works. But we're only going up to 4.5 RPMs. Okay, good to know. Let's drop this down all the way and see if it's not something else, and make sure it was only because it was on the lift. Let's release our brake. Okay, yep, it was only because it was on the lift. Okay, good to know. Let's see if we could do a reverse burnout. We cannot. Alright, so now I want to see if we can, with the stock engine, full throttle it, pop the clutch, and see if it'll burn out. Nope, no burnies. Okay, I didn't think so. Let's see if we crank the wheel. Nope, not even enough power to do that. Okay. Alright, now what I want to do is I want to throw a couple different engines in here and see how it responds in this car and also how it looks. First up is just going to be the standard 6-cylinder. Actually, I lie. What we're going to do is we're going to throw in the 1.8 liter 4-cylinder and see how this actually runs in the car. So let me go ahead and get this one pulled out. Okay, I got the engine installed. We do have radiator fluid still. It has not drained. But it's a new engine, so I do have to put oil in it. All right, we got full oil. This is the 1.84 cylinder, and it does take 2 oils, just like the original. All right, everything is tightened up. We're just gonna move this back. We do want to put the exhaust on, so let me go ahead and grab that and put that on. Okay, exhaust is on. I'm gonna remove this just so it looks better. All right, let's give her a start. We still got to put the fuel line back on. Okay, fuel line's on, everything is on. Let's go ahead and give it a start. Okay, so it does still sound the same, which is to be expected. Now let's see if we can do a burnout. Just gonna leave it in first. Okay, that one didn't do it either. Let's do a full wheel crank, and then pop the clutch. Okay, so the 1.8 also doesn't do a pop clutch burnout, but I think we can do a donut. Let's see. Nope, not necessarily. All right, since we do have the 1.8, let's take it out to the road, to the bridge. And let's see how it does as far as acceleration and speed. Fourth. Okay, seems like it doesn't have too much of a difference, but we're going to use this bridge as a guide for some of our tests. Since we're not down at the drag strip, we're just going to park here, right at the line, and then we're going to give it full throttle all the way down and see what the top speed is with this engine. Yeah, it doesn't seem too much more powerful than the 1.4 liter. Yeah, we're coming up at the end of the bridge. We're almost to 180. Okay, so it looks like we just hit under 180 with the 1.8 liter 4-cylinder. All right, good to know. Now let's go ahead and drop a 6-cylinder in this, and let's see how it acts. All right, we have the 6-cylinder here. It's just the standard 6-cylinder 3.5. So let's get this installed. Actually, this transmission that I have here is for the 6-cylinder diesel, which does not work on the 6-cylinder gasoline. And we're going to do 2 tests with this one. We're going to put the dual exhaust on and the single, so we will be starting with the single exhaust. And as you can see, with 3 containers and a little bit of spillage, we're right under the line. All right, we're going to double check the radiator fluid to make sure nothing fell out when we changed it. And a lot did fall out when we changed it, so we're going to fill that up as well. All right, the radiator fluid is filled. Let's get the cap on, and let's get this puppy started and see what kind of power we're producing. So right off the bat, we could already hear that it sounds quite different. And as you can see with this engine, it is a little bit too big for this car, a little bit too big for this bay. But there is a, I don't have it installed, but there is a rear radiator mod that links up back here. Maybe if we install that and put it in the back, it would actually look a little bit better. I might have to try to do that on another video, but let's give it a little bit of throttle. Okay, looks good. Let's take a look inside the engine itself. Now this one doesn't have moving parts like the 4-cylinder does. None of the valves or any of that are moving. But we can see the crankshaft moving down there. And there is the camshaft. So the camshaft still does move. The crankshaft moves just like the 4-cylinder. They're just in different locations, so we can't see them. We can see we have plenty of oil. Yeah, and see the fans clipping through the radiator, which almost looks okay, because it just looks like the fans on the outside of that radiator rather than the inside. But let's get inside this thing. So let's see if we could do a full throttle burnout pop in the clutch here. Okay, it doesn't want to do so, just doing a straight clutch pop. But maybe if we let it out just a little bit slower. Nope. We need to do a full steering wheel turn clutch pop. Nope. Alright, so we can see that this thing cannot do a burnout or a donut. So let's take it down to the bridge and see what kind of times or not times, but speed we post and how fast it accelerates. Alright, we're just going to go to the beginning of the bridge here. Alright, let's see what she can do. So as we can see, it does have a bit more acceleration. Okay, we're in 5th. Or not, I don't remember what we got up to in the 4-cylinder actually. But it looks like we're about to hit almost 200. Okay, so we just hit 200 kilometers an hour by the time we got to the end of that bridge. Let's pull this in the bay real quick. So we know we couldn't pop our clutch and do a burnout with this engine as is. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to change out the differential on the back and see what the difference will be with the different differential. We're going to double check our fluids real quick. All right, they definitely look good. All right, and as we can see, this lad came stock with a 3.8 locked differential. 6.0 locked differential is what we're going to be replacing it with. Alright, so now we have the 6.0 locked differential. We still have the single exhaust, but let's see if we can do a clutch pop burnout. Well, it didn't seem to spin the tires, but it didn't stall. Yeah, you see that? Usually it would stall when I would pop it, but let's go ahead and do a full wheel crank, and then we're going to pop the clutch this way. Alright, well, I wouldn't say that's the best burnout in the world, but as you can tell, with the higher, with the 6.0 differential, it has a little bit more torque, it seems, so we're able to actually do a little bit more of a donut. Alright, we're going to do the same test as before, but this time with the 6.0 differential, and we're going to see what the top speed is and what the difference really is between these differentials. We can already see we're going through the gears a lot faster. We're already in 5th. And we're only topping out at 140. So the higher the diff, the shorter your gears will be. But we could put the 4-speed in here as well and see how that works. But before we do that, we're actually going to swap this thing out with the dual exhaust and see if the dual exhaust gives us any difference in performance and or sound. So let's go and pull her back into the garage. Alright, this exhaust is not quite what I was expecting. I didn't think it was going to come through the hood. I thought it was just going to roll down and we would attach these and they would come out the back. For whatever reasons, one of these must be a mod, I'm thinking. But there's the exhaust L LAD C and the regular exhaust L LAD. So not too sure what that's all about, but let's see how it sounds with this exhaust though. I'm actually quite curious. This I think is part of one of the exhaust mods or a demolition derby mod. I'm not entirely sure. Alright, let's give it a start. Oh my god. Well, this sounds quite different. Let's see if it has any performance difference though. Alright. Well, it sounds quite different. Alright, we now have the regular exhaust back on, and I went ahead and we have the 4-speed manual transmission with the 6.0 differential. So let's go ahead and do a full throttle clutch pop burnout. And let's see what happens. Oh, we did actually get a little bit of a burnout there, look. I think that's the first time I've actually seen it leave a little bit of a skid mark. Let's do it again. Okay, well that time it didn't. I think it was because we was halfway on that and halfway off. But let's do a full wheel turn clutch pop. Okay, well it acts about the same, but the main difference in the test here is going to be in seeing what the difference in speed is on the bridge. Alright, let's go ahead and back her to the bridge here. Alright, let's see what we can top out with the 4-speed and the 6.0 differential. Pretty fast through the gears still, of course. Okay, and we're only hitting 100 with the 4-speed. Okay, I guess that is to be expected. One extra gear. We're missing a gear, but I did think that they would have been stretched out a little bit further. I think we got to 120 with the 5-speed. Alright, on this one here we have the 2.0 locked. Now I don't expect this, I do expect this to die out as soon as we pop the clutch, but let's give it a shot. Yep, that's what I thought. But let's see if we can actually do a donut. Oops. But let's see if we could do a donut. We're gonna have to do a rolling one, but oh yeah, definitely not. Alright, we're at the bridge. Let's see what our top speed and all that is with this 2.0 locked diff. As you can see, we're still in first. They're a lot longer gears. We're already at 120 in second gear. 160 in third. But as you can tell, it's not really a great combination because the 6-cylinder just isn't really powerful enough. So we got up to 200, but unfortunately we did not even get to the 4th gear because that ratio is just a little bit too low for this engine. It doesn't allow for it. So ideally, probably the 3.6 or 3.8 or maybe even the 4.2 might be a perfect combination with this V6. So in 4th gear on the way back, As you can see, we're barely even doing any, we're barely even speeding up any, so not a good combo. I think it'll probably work better back with the 3.8 or the 4.2. Okay, well, that did not go as planned. I thought we would have a little bit more denting going on. It seemed like the physics locked up on the car that I'm driving, so there appears to be almost no damage. Let's go through all the gears. Oh yeah, we can't even. So when the back end's off the ground, you can't even really move the rear end. Okay, good to know. All right, so one last experiment on the video. First, we're going to see if we can get under here and look at our clutch parts. Okay, looks like the clutch is still doing good. Crankshaft still looks good. Now what I want to do is test out the transmission itself. So what I mean by that is we're going to just drive a little bit, and we're going to just shift gears without using the clutch. Basically grind those gears and see if the transmission actually starts to go out. Okay, so I'm not using the clutch whatsoever. Well, I guess I should have put it in there. But yeah, let's keep doing it. So we're just shifting through all the gears with no clutch. Alright, let's pull her in the garage and see if any of these parts have gone bad or what. Okay, so after doing all that gear grinding, the transmission looks fine from here. Okay, transmission still looks brand new. Alright, the pressure plate looks brand new. The clutch plate itself still looks brand new. And the flywheel looks brand new. Okay. Okay, well, all right, and with this final test, we are going to be trying out the V8 inside the LAD here, and as you can already see, the V8 fits better than the V6 does. It does still pop out the front, but it does look a hell of a lot better. It looks like it's just a front fan, which is not a thing, but it's there. Yeah, so anyway, let's go ahead and jump in and see how this runs. Now this does have the 4-speed manual transmission with the 3.8 locked differential. So first we're going to start off with a full throttle pop clutch burnout, but we are going to do it with the wheels fully turned. Alright, so as you can see, it doesn't really do much of a burnout, it doesn't stall. But the donuts are pretty pathetic. It just kind of goes in a circle. So let's go ahead to the bridge. So let's see how it is with the V8. All right. Well, there we go. There we go. Tire is completely in the back. We definitely jacked this puppy up really good with that wreck. And it's all her fault. I know it. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for today's tests and experiments. We went ahead and did all the engines in the LAD today, and as we could tell, your differential is going to be what determines your top speed, and your engine is going to be what determines on how fast you get up to that top speed. And if you have any other suggestions for any other tests I should do, please do leave the suggestion in the comments down below, and we will try it on a future video. But this one was all about the LAD today, and the next one we will try a different vehicle and do different things with it. But anyhow, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. All right, later on.